growing up on me.
No puedo más.
Look at this.
I'm trying to hold a serious adult conversation here.
You know, you're the only Spider-Man who isn't funny. We're supposed to be funny.
The fate of the multiverse.
You always lose me with that. You say, the fate of the multiverse, and my brain dies.
Hello, and welcome back to the final Spider-Verse video. We are finally on to Miguel, which means this is it. This is the final one. So this, in the month of July of the year of Our Lady, the Dolly Parton, we'll be done with the series. At least for quite a bit, because after more than half of a year of just talking about the Spider-Verse, I'm sure you guys are really happy to move on to another subject. So before we actually hop into the Miguel video, I want to share with you what the rest of the year is going to look like. Number one, after the Spider-Verse videos are all said and done and I take some time to recuperate and think of like the scripts for the next one, we're actually going to be going to We're actually going to be going to Jujutsu Kaisen because season 2 officially has launched at time of this recording, and I really want to tackle it because I am an avid manga reader and I really just want to touch on it. So there's so much to get through in season 1 and 2 while I've been watching it that it's good to go back. Also, Black Butler has started again by the time this video is going to be coming out, so we're going to be tackling that. Middle school me lives on forever. But again, that's all just superficial stuff. Now on to the Miguel video. So we need to talk about Miguel. I have been harping on about the fact that Miguel is absolutely hilarious as far as a concept for a character goes. I have been harping on forever about the fact that Miguel is wrong about the canon events in all of the other Spider-Verse videos. And I need to make one thing very clear. Spoilers ahead. Just straight up, spoilers. I don't want to hear about I didn't warn you. I've warned you in every single video that we are talking about spoiler-y territory. So this is a really long audio because this is actually the guy that started most of this. In the first Spider-Verse movie, at the end of it, he is there with Lila, basically figuring out how to cross dimensions and all that other jazz, which is good as far as a setup for the second movie. And we do see Miguel in the second movie after he has perfected this technology. And we see that through his own hubris, things have gone wrong. Now, the canon event that he harps on about is because he found a universe where he died, but his daughter is alive. So in his mind, I'll just take the place of the guy who died and nothing will have changed. Not realizing that the reason why that universe unraveled isn't because of him being like Spider-Man or anything like that. It unraveled because you were taking up space in a dimension that wasn't yours and trying to pass it off like it was. The universe, as we have discussed in another video, doesn't like its peas mixed with its porridge. It didn't matter that Miguel was doing nothing wrong. The universe realized really quickly, you're not where you're supposed to be. Playing the visitation game, it doesn't mind. You'll eventually go home. But you can't be from another dimension, shack up residency like a squatter, and call it good. The universe now takes offense to that. Which it's shown Miguel is, if you're not going to go back to your own dimension willingly, I will kick you out by force. I'll just destroy this entire universe. The canon event that Miguel is prattling on about is less to do with like all of the canon events that all of the other spider people have had to go through.
Huh? What thing?
What do you mean, what thing? The information, explain anything.
This is everything.
Can you be more specific?
Can you not talk for a second?
This is all of us.
All of our lives woven together in a beautiful web.
The Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse? Oh, that's stupid. It's called the Arachno-Humanoid Polymultiverse. Which sounds stupid too, I guess.
They are the canon. Chapters that are a part of every spider story, every time.
Those are just like catalysts. Those are every Spider-Man story. Everybody's insert Uncle Ben allegory here has to die in some way, shape, or form. Because of course it does. Because every hero needs a tragedy, supposedly. Even though that's not really the case. 9 times out of 10, heroes end up having tragedy happen to them because the bad guys need a way to get them off their back. So threatening the people they love is like a surefire way to get them out of their hair for a little while. Not that it ever works, but again, that's neither here nor there. And here's the thing. In some respect, Miguel is right. But not really. He's not wrong, but he's not right either. Let me explain. Spider-Man as a superhero concept seems to be prevalent and pretty cookie cutter from one universe and one iteration to the next. Bit by radioactive spider, has a love interest, fights a bunch of criminals, New York, blah 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 blah, quippy. That's pretty much the same all the way through. Here's the main difference though. Not all spider people are the same. Like, that's just like the bare bones mold that people have to go through, but it's not the mold people go through. Miguel is a perfect example of this.
Spider-Man. At least I was. But I'm not like the others. I don't always like what I have to do. But I know I have to be the one to do it.
That medicine that he keeps stabbing himself with, that's not like diabetes medication or like HRT transition medication. That's legitimately how he gets his powers. He wasn't bitten by a radioactive spider. Miguel is, in fact, built differently. So we're actually going to have to talk about the medicine that Miguel takes, because it's kind of important. Where most Spider-Man or women are bitten by, quote, a radioactive spider and given their powers, Miguel O'Hara is the obvious and, at this point, only exception. He wasn't bitten by a radioactive spider. He was legitimately just given medicine to become this giant fucking hulking man. Which, for the record, that actually isn't true. Like, I had to double check it. In the first movie, he's significantly thinner, and I kept thinking, like, bro, why are you so buff in this? And then I realized why. He's been playing this interdimensional bingo game for at least 6 years. Since Miles became Spider-Man, he has been playing this game of interdimensional bingo. So I imagine from one universe to the next, it's a little different all the time. So his body has conformed and changed. And also, all of the Spider HQ shows that it's like wildly outfitted with all this stuff to get buff. It makes sense why now he's just built like a Dorito chip. I know what I said. But it does bring up the thing. If all of these canon events are true, Miguel is still the outlier, because everybody else got bit by a radioactive spider, sir, except you. Everybody else had all of this Uncle Ben nonsense happen, except, implied, you. Your canon event, air quotes that, was that your daughter, in another universe, died.
I've given up too much to stop now.
Listen to me, bro. Whole point of being Spider-Man is your independence.
Now, this brings up the question, and I did bring this up, and nobody wanted to talk to me about it, so I have a YouTube channel. We'll bring it up here. We'll do it live. Miguel, in your universe, did your daughter die as your canon event, or did your daughter die as a non-canon event, and it messed you up so badly that you couldn't not have her? Which then I thought of it, it's like, no, that doesn't make sense. He just took the place of another him. Did he know that the other him had a family that was waiting on him? Did he know that the other him had no soup? Do you see what I mean? There is so much gray area in a character like this because we just don't know.
Yes. Inspector Singh's death was a canon event. You weren't supposed to be there. And now, Miles, because you changed the story, Pavitra's dimension is unraveling. If we're lucky, we can stop it. It's what happens when you break the canon.
How do you know?
Because I broke it once myself.
But why don't you just use the canon from the comic books? Because I'm not gonna read that many issues of a fucking comic book. I'm sorry, I have other things to do. I have a day job. Also, no offense, unlike my niece, I'm not a webhead. I really don't care. I'm just looking at this from the media to which I am presented it, which means these movies. So my point stands. If you only go off of these movies, there's so much gray area in this canon event nonsense, and it works because we as the audience are not supposed to sympathize and root with Miguel in this movie, and it shows that we are not supposed to root and sympathize with him in this movie, is because when he calls Miles the original anomaly and all these other horrible names, I would like to point this out, and I will be more than happy to debate people in the comments about this. Miguel is not talking to Miles. Miguel is airing all of his grievances at himself out on Miles because Miles is also in Anomaly, but he is not the Anomaly. That's Miguel's entire shtick.
Or Peter Parker would have lived. Instead, he died, saving you. Spot wouldn't exist, and none of this would have happened. And all this time, I have been the only one holding it all together. You don't belong here. You never did.
He is the anomaly because he ruined an entire universe because he wanted to go to another universe and play Happy Family, and it backfired on him. I am not going to sit here and say Miguel's reasoning was flawed. I am going to say that Miguel's reaction to his circumstances is a little suspect. And it's very much, we need to talk about it. So we are going to talk about it. I love Miguel, right? I love the fact that Miguel O'Hara exists because it brings up the question of, can a Spider-Man exist that's totally unhinged? Yes, we can. We can totally play this game of Miguel is totally unhinged. And he is unhinged is because this desperate bid for perfection and control is grating on him. Because the depression of losing his family, an entire universe that he, I suppose, fell in love with, because again, we don't know as the audience, it's implied, so we'll go with that. It is ruining his mental health. His mental health overall is deteriorating rapidly because all he wants to harp on about is the canon event, keeping things in line, not really helping each other, blah blah blah. The special watch that he has super mega power control of because he straight up blocks Gwen Stacy from doing her stuff when she decides, I don't want to play this game anymore. It is a wonderful complex character, and the reason why it is a wonderfully complex character in Miguel O'Hara is because Miguel is projecting all of his negative thoughts and emotions out onto Miles, and when he has to contend with the fact that Miles is right, this isn't how this works. Bad things happen. Bad things always happen. That is like life 101. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And this means two different things. One, it means that Miguel has to contend with the fact that his desperate bid for perfection and control is always going to fail. And number two, it means that Miguel's canon event bull honky, while it has sound background in a scientific context, does not hold weight, is because if the universe decides on a random Tuesday 5 years from now, it's gonna rain strawberry milk, it's gonna rain strawberry milk, and there is nothing you can do about it. You can ponder why specifically strawberry milk, like how did that happen, but you can't change the fact that that is something the universe decided, and it did. Your job in a universe is to take the punches and roll with them. The gig of Spider-Man is to take the punches and roll with them. Because anything else means you're gonna go crazy because there's no way to control that. But hell, what about people with anxiety disorders and all that other stuff? I can't speak about people with anxiety disorders and all that other stuff because, in all honesty, those are mental health issues that I am not qualified to speak on. However, I do know that most therapists do try to get the people with anxiety to, like, at least get to a place of, like, functionality in the world. That I do know, because my friend, hi Paco, has anxiety. And he knows that. You get to a place of functionality, because if you let the anxiety overwhelm you, you ain't gonna get nothing done. So it's easier to just get to a place of, alright, I gotta get this done, and everything that happens in between all this other stuff, c'est la vie, and move on. Miguel doesn't, well, let me rephrase that. I don't know if Miguel has anxiety or not. However, I do know this much, and it's weird to say because I don't want to come off as dismissive. Because I realize in a couple of these videos, because I'm getting back into my actual real good media analysis, so some of the videos are just a little rough, and I can admit that. Also relearning how to use a brand new editing program, which I'm sure you guys have seen, because it's a little wobbly and jinkly. I'm so sorry. As I'm getting back into this, I have to remember that I have to be able to put emotion into this, because sounding like an unfeeling robot makes me look like a bitch. So in a lot of these videos, I have put my foot in my mouth, I'll admit that. But in this video specifically, I'm trying to get to, I don't want to come off as dismissive to Miguel, because what happened to him was tragic. What happened to him was his fault, and what he is trying to get to is not something he can get to. Because, Miguel, you are trying to girl boss the universe on several different levels all at the same time. I'm gonna let you know right now, no, that's not a thing. One universe, your universe, will put you to task and make you humble real fast. But having to try and girl boss hundreds of different universes is nigh impossible. It's fine that you want to keep track of them and, like, look and make sure everybody's right, all the other spider people are still doing okay, but you cannot micromanage that many worlds. It's just not feasible. It really isn't. And I'm not saying that Miguel, like, couldn't be able to, because we've seen he is more than capable of it. What I mean by this is, it is hard for Miguel, I believe, right? Personal opinion time. I believe it is hard for Miguel to wrap his mind around the fact that he is not the end-all be-all authority of this, which is why when Miles tells him to his face, no, I'm gonna do it my own way, it bothers Miguel. Is because everybody else was more than happy to play the, alright man, do whatever it is you gotta do, I just want to be able to do the interdimensional bingo card game. Miles being just point blank, I'm not going to play this game, bothers him. It bothers him a lot. And that's the reason why he's so hell-bent on getting Miles back. Because if Miles proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that he can save his father, that this canon event thing doesn't mean anything, it means Miguel is wrong. And it means that Miguel has to contend with the fact that all the bad stuff that happened, it's not a canon event. It's just bad things happen. And Miguel cannot possibly wrap his mind around that. It will bother him. It doesn't matter that in the Gwen video, we already discussed the fact that, nah fam, her dad already stopped being police captain, so this canon event isn't even a thing anymore. And Gwen knows that. Everybody is about to realize the canon event was becoming Spider-Man. But that's it. That might be the only canon event that Miguel actually has room to stand on. And it bothers him so much that Miles might be right. That's what bothers him. So, where all the other videos in this were a defense of video, this is the only opposition of video, is because Miguel, honey, sweetie, pobrecita, you are wrong. And it is okay that you are wrong. Because out of everything in the universe you want so desperately to be right about, the only thing you'll ever 100% be correct on is that you fail. And you fail hard a lot of the time. And that's okay. But again, that's a personal, viewing of this. And I know it's a personal viewing of this, because it's hard to admit you're wrong. Being able to look at somebody and say, I apologize, I was completely wrong in this situation, somehow seems to be like really wild for people to do. Maybe you should go see somebody about that. But that's neither here nor there. Miguel is wrong, and that is okay that he is wrong, because I believe that is his character arc from all of these movies, from the first one to this upcoming last one. It is him having to realize you are wrong, and that is okay. The universe will still keep doing universe stuff, even if you can't do universe stuff anymore. Do I have anything else I want to add? No. Okay, bye!